Forget what you heard. Yeah, boy!
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Forget What You Heard. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Luke.
Yippee-ki-yay when a cowboy trades his spurs for wings. And today on Forget What You Heard, yeah, we're going to bypass a little NBA Finals action and go straight into the NFL, baby. With me and Luke, we love talking about it. It might be I think we're like a month away from training camp. But before we get started, I have a very, very important question. How are you, Brother Barrett?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for asking. Excited to touch on a lot of sports topics today, especially those of the NFL. We got the NFL's burning questions. We're going to jump on ahead of the 2022 season. And there's a lot of them, man. There's a lot of burning questions, a lot of moving pieces, a lot of unanswered riddles that we'll find out as the course of this season goes on. But we're here to answer them. We're here to ask those tough questions and just debate, throw up some great topics to talk about, and hope you guys enjoy it because I know me and Aaron will enjoy talking about this stuff.
Heck yeah, man. Yes, indeed. There is a lot of burning questions, if you will, going into this 2022 season. A lot of moves, a lot of moving parts, a lot of things, a lot of drama. So we're gonna tackle it. We just wrote down a few questions, and we're just gonna discuss it. Hopefully, it answers some of your questions, or it's a question that you had in mind, because we try to touch on a little bit of everything here. So we're just going to get into it, brother, man. We're going to dive right in head first like a little scoopy-doop-doopy.
Yeah, man, I'm ready, man. A little over 30 total questions between the two of us. And hopefully it sparks a lot of good debates and a lot of good information.
Discussions. I ain't a day shade over 30.
I ain't seen since I was 12.
All right, let's get right into it. The first question I have is, what's the most intriguing, interesting, fun QB battle to look forward to this offseason, man? What are you keeping your eye on? What's going on around here, man?
I think for me, like, the most intriguing would be the San Francisco 49ers quarterback room. And I say that, with the unknown of Jimmy Garoppolo's injury, his health. But I think it's something we have to monitor. How serious is it? Is he going to come back in time for training camp? And I think, if I'm answering this question based off Jimmy G coming back for training camp, I'm not sure his timeline or anything, but just seeing the competition between Trey Lance, the third overall pick last year, and then the security, the conservativeness of Jimmy G, which route do they go? And I say it's the most interesting because the 49ers are probably the best of the field in terms of the other quarterback competitions. I feel like the Niners are already that close to being competitive. So I feel like this QB situation is much more serious than, say, the Steelers or Atlanta or, the Panthers. I feel like the Niners one's more intriguing just based off how good this team could be. And, if Trey Lance gets the job, man, who knows? So I would answer the 49ers not knowing Jimmy G's health, but that would be my most interested quarterback competition.
That is very interesting. I didn't write that one down because to me, Jimmy G's as good as gone.
Okay.
They've been very open about trying to find the best situation for him in terms of trades. That's like saying you're gone, just not yet. That's what I read into it. But if they can't find a trade partner and stuff, that is a very interesting situation because who do you go with? They took a high draft pick on Trey Lance. They kind of wanted to give the keys over to him, or do you try to win with Jimmy G?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, everything's aligning for Trey Lance to get the job outright week one. Jimmy G probably won't even be on the team. His health, drafting Trey Lance so high. Like, he's got to play eventually at some point.
Is he unhealthy? I thought he got a surgery. He got a surgery and he's just recovering now?
Yeah, I think he's in the recovery state, but there's no, like, timeline for him to return. So I was thinking training camp, but like you said, like, what if he's getting healthy? They're getting calls and stuff. But, like, even, like, for me, like, the Steelers QB room, in my opinion, I think Kenny Pickett's a starter. They drafted him to be the starter.
Not so fast, my friend. I think he's working with the third team right now.
Yeah, he's a rookie, man.
They got Trubisky, first team, Mason Rudolph, second. I understand this is before even training camp, and they're just getting his feet wet. He doesn't even know players' names yet.
Right. The reason I say that, though, is because Steelers historically, like, I think their rule when it comes to the NFL draft, their first 3 picks in the NFL draft are starters. It's always been the case since as long as I can remember. So they drafted him in the first round, so they obviously think very highly of him. And historically, the first 3 picks in the NFL draft have been starters. So that's the only thing I say to back it up.
You're telling me that Kenny Shrimp Hands Pickett is going to be the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yeah.
You're telling me Kenny Miniature Mittens Pickett is going to be the starter? That's bold, but I can't argue it. I mean, first of all, Mitch Trubisky, people have so many, like, I would say outlandish expectations just for him backing up Josh Allen. Brian Dable put his hands on him, and now he can throw the ball and be real good like Josh Allen. I'm not so sure. Mason Rudolph got hit in the head with a helmet, dude. I don't know if he can even do math. You know what I mean? Like, there's probably a lot of things going on in that noggin. So, I mean, I won't be surprised with Kenny Pickett, but that one's not as interesting to me. The most interesting to me is the Falcons. With Marcus Mariota, Wiley Vett. Is this a comeback story of the century? Getting thrown out of Tennessee, going to the Raiders as a backup, getting humbled. He's mature. Now he's back and he has a chance to be a starter. Or is it this specimen of a rookie, Desmond Ridder? You know, it's kind of interesting. To me, maybe I like it because I kind of interested in both quarterbacks to see what they have to offer because they're similar in terms of being kind of athletic and being, you know, we don't know how they really throw the ball, but I just find it interesting, the Falcons. And I think that's the closest one, really.
Yeah, there's not a lot. The only ones I can think of is Seattle, maybe the Panthers, and then the Falcons. But on the Falcons, I think it's very possible we see both quarterbacks play this year. I mean, to me, I'd be shocked if Ritter's the day one starter, to be honest. Just with Mariota getting a second chance as a starter, sitting back behind the Raiders, he's a veteran. Like, I'm sure at camp he's going to look better. He's polished, teammates, He knows how to interact. So day one, I have a feeling it's Mariota. You have nothing to lose. Why not come try to win games right out the gate, you know? And then the trajectory of your season will be laid out in, you know, a few weeks. You know, maybe by week 6 they haven't won a game. Why not go Ridder? He's got the skills. He's got the talent. So, I mean, I think it's interesting as a whole. But at the end of the day, I do think we see both. But I do think Mariota comes out on top for week 1.
And who knows? Maybe Mariota does have that career renaissance with the Falcons. Like, he figured some stuff out. My question to you is, who has a higher % chance of having that renaissance, Trubisky or Mariota?
I guess. Well, how would you decide renaissance?
Like they start the whole season and they're actually like good quarterbacks.
Mariota.
Yeah, I would say that. But I'd also think that Trubisky's in a better situation, like better weapons.
100%.
So, I don't know. I just thought I'd throw that out there. I don't want to talk about Seattle, dude. That's like, you know, bird poop.
Yeah, it's not interesting. I guess it's more of like
they just literally
QB battle.
Yeah, they're just trying to figure out whoever can throw the ball to DK, man.
I mean, I wouldn't mind like Drew Lock winning it and like coming out, just seeing like what he can bring. Because I mean, with Geno, like how much better is he gonna make your team? Like, you're not gonna win much more games with Geno Smith than you would with Drew Lock. So why not go with the young guy, see what he's got, And he's still got upside, man. People act like he's dog water. But he is dog water, but he still has something to show. I feel like Drew Lock does. So.
And for the Carolina situation, who do you think comes out on top? You think Sam Darnold can get it figured out?
I think this one's more interesting than the other ones. I think the Panthers one is interesting because Sam Darnold has shown that he's not very good. And he's had plenty of opportunities, probably more so than Drew Lock, probably more so than Mitchell Trubisky.
Carolina was 4-0 last year with him.
Yeah, he had good.
And then the injury.
Yeah. He's had like a good run and everything, but I think Matt Corral can be like a pretty solid player. Like, I mean, it all depends on what we see out of him, how he can translate to the NFL, obviously. But like, I like his skills. He's got a nice arm.
I'm thinking Sam Darnold wins that, though.
Sam Darnold will win, but I'm intrigued by the prospect of Matt Corral on the Panthers. To be honest,
is there a battle in Tennessee?
No.
Oh man!
Nah, dude.
Hey, let a boy dream.
Tannehill's the guy, and Tannehill will be just fine.
All right, do you have any more QB battles you want to talk about, or you want to move on?
Yeah, I think that was about it for the battles, man. Really.
Well, let's move on.
Sure.
Did Chiefs make enough additions to fill the Tyreek Hill void that he left behind being traded to the Miami Dolphins?
Did they do enough to fill it? Maybe not fill it 100%. But to me, I feel like they've added enough to where they have enough weapons to at least like be up there. At least like produce maybe similar to what they did with Tyreek. Because in my opinion, on paper right now, what they did in the draft in the offseason, this is probably the deepest receiver group Mahomes has had in terms of from 1 to 6, with, I mean, if you need me to name them, I'll name them, Mecole Hardman, Valdez-Scantling, Juju Smith, Sky Moore, Justin Ross. I'm probably missing another one, but, I mean, that Josh Gordon. I mean, so that's a pretty deep group, the deepest I've seen them have. So, I mean, in terms of having a player as skilled as Tyreek Hill, no. Do they have someone that can probably play that role? No, but maybe it's beneficial that they don't have a Tyreek Hill type of guy. Maybe he can take a lot of attention, maybe shift your whole offense more balanced, doing a lot more other things with these different skill sets. So I would be disappointed if they weren't able to produce something similar to Tyreek Hill, but maybe not have just one guy do that.
Yeah, I would. Those are very good points, and I also agree with you. I don't think it's one player, but I think it, like, as a whole, I think if everyone chips in with Patrick Mahomes, I think they won't really miss Tyreek Hill if in a perfect world if they all, because, MVS can stretch the field. Juju's like a possession guy. Sky Moore is a wild card. Who knows what that guy can do? Mecole Hardman, Josh Gordon. I forgot about that guy. So it's Justin Ross. I mean, I don't see whenever I look at the depth chart, I don't see that they're sorely missing Tyreek Hill after all these additions. I have another question for you, brothers.
Sure.
Who do you think will become Casey's number one behind Travis Kelce?
So would the number one be the guy who's most targeted, would you say?
Yes, and you kind of tell that it's Patrick Mahomes' favorite. Like receptions, yards, I don't know. Maybe not yards, because I know what you're going to say if I say receptions, Juju.
Oh,
right?
Really?
Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point.
But I'll answer it straight out. I think the number one receiver will be Juju Smith-Schuster. I think he'll be kind of like their go-to kind of weapon on offense outside of Kelce because, I mean, to me, out of the names that we named in the receiving core, Juju's been the most reliable. He's a really good third down player. Yeah, he's not explosive the way Tyreek Hill is, but to me, he's more of a possession receiver than Tyreek Hill. He's more of a reliable in terms of, making the safe play. Like Juju's a very safe receiver. And, those third downs that Travis Kelce's been a monster at, like converting third downs, red zone area. And I think Juju is similar in the way that he's just reliable. You don't need him to fill downfield. You can crossing patterns, 10-yard out. So to me, I feel like since he's probably the most polished, most reliable of the group as of right now, I would say Juju is the number one.
Can you give me a ballpark of his stats that you would project? I know I put you on the spot, but
can I think about it for a minute?
yeah, I know it was tough, but it's hard for me to not smell what you're stepping in right now. Because Patrick Mahomes, Juju Smith, we've seen what Juju can produce when he's not injured or TikToking. It does worry me that he is going to be in close vicinity to Jackson Mahomes, who's also a TikToker. They could collaborate and, poop could hit the fan real quick. But let's get back to business. Juju, it's like I'm scared, but I'm also like it's weird. Like sometimes I'm very sure of what he can produce, but other times I'm like I don't know. Maybe it's Sky Moore, some wild card. I don't know with this team. I think we'd have to wait for training camp to see how things kind of are shifting around, see what's going on in the atmosphere.
Yeah, I think for Juju though, the last 2 years hasn't been that good, but I mean the 2 years before that he had back-to-back 1,000-yard receiving, and the last 2 years were kind of injury-riddled, and then playing with Big Ben, who was 10 years late. I think Juju's still that guy. I still think he can come back and be one of those kind of studs, and being the number 2 target in this offense with Mahomes is something that we cannot sniff at.
I think we said that last year, though.
Yeah, but Big Ben to Mahomes is something you can actually predict, But in terms of his projections, I would say probably in the realm of 65, 70 catches, maybe 750, 850 in that. I'm going to go kind of broad because I'm not.
Yeah, no. We're not asking you to.
If I was going to predict, probably 65, 70, 75 catches, maybe 750, 800, 850 yards, and maybe 5 to 7 touchdowns, solid, reliable, but nothing crazy.
Interesante.
But I mean, at the same time, how crazy would it be if Juju had 100 catches, 1,100 yards, 7 touchdowns? I don't think that's too crazy either.
Would it be crazy if Josh Gordon was?
Yeah.
Dang it.
That's crazy.
All right, let's move on to another hot topic. One that a lot of people have been asking. Favorite to be Aaron Rodgers' favorite target this year without Devontae Adams? Oh, yeah, I got some for you. Easy answer, Lazard. Boring. Wishful answer, Christian Watson. Let's dive underneath the surface a little bit, you know what I mean?
Okay.
We've barely explored the ocean. Romeo Dobbs. From the Dubs?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good name for him. The rookie from Nevada, 4th-round pick. And also the rookie Samari Toure.
Okay.
From Nebraska. You know what this reminds me of? Like a Randall Cobb, like a Jordy Nelson, someone that's kind of off the beaten path that Aaron Rodgers falls in love with. Like a Donald Driver, something, It's just, I have this feeling in my stomach that, yeah, we have the easy ones right in front of us. Lazard and Christian Watson. But I've got a funny feeling about these other guys. What's your take on this, bub?
Yeah, man. I mean, none of these guys are super involved. I mean, we saw Lazard have, some nice games, but, in reality, is his, target share going to change? I don't know. I don't know what type of role he's going to play. But, I mean, to me, if I'm going to project who the number one target would be in terms of, kind of, I don't know. See, I think it's going to be real even across the board. It's not going to be this Devontae Adams superstar.
Forgot about Amari Rodgers.
Yeah, Amari Rodgers. It's not going to be this one guy who just comes in and is the next Devontae Adams. It's going to be spread out across the board. We could easily see, 3, maybe 4 guys get 700 yards. It's all evenly spread out. Because, like, how realistic is it for Christian Watson to come and play Devontae Adams' role and him be able to
He's
keep
not
it up?
that guy.
He's not. He's just not going to do that. So, I mean, it's a tricky question to predict, like, who would be the number one. I don't think you can project that. But, like, maybe we can look at, like, track records because, historically speaking, like, Rodgers doesn't love rookies. He likes the vets he knows he has a rapport with already. It takes you years to get that rapport with Aaron Rodgers.
Winfrey.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch. The list goes on and on if you want to really go down it. But so to me, like, having Watson and Dubs come in and just emerge as like the number one doesn't seem super realistic to me. I mean, if you wanted to gamble, Lazard would make sense just because he's had that rapport. Randall Cobb could sneakily be it, but he's just a slot.
But he doesn't have a lot to choose from.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And he seems like he's in a different spot in his career.
Who's that?
Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
I think he's willing to take the rookies under his wing and really work with them this offseason, from what I'm hearing.
Okay.
He's ready. He says, whenever I get into the building, into the facility, put your hard hat on because we're going to work. That's what he told Christian Watson. And I love to hear that.
He told Christian Watson?
Yeah.
He didn't tell everyone?
No, he just told. Well, it was like draft day.
Oh.
Is that you think that's just something you have to say? But anyway, yeah, it should be interesting in Green Bay, man.
Who would you project to be the number one?
I mean, the easy answer for me is Lazard. He's been there. He's familiar. He doesn't. I mean, I think he's okay, like a pretty good wide receiver. So, like if I was putting money down, it'd be Lazard. But if I'm going wild card, I'm going Dubs, dog. I watched his highlights.
Yeah, he's good.
I like him.
My wild card
another one.
is Sammy Watkins.
Oh, I completely forgot about him.
He's my wild card. I know he hasn't been there. They don't have a rapport, but he's the vet, you know. He's, 28 now. I know it's injuries. If he can get through camp, make the team healthy, I think he could easily be the surprise. Favorite target for Aaron Rodgers.
I like that. I like that a lot. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I forgot about the Lizard Man.
Yeah, he's kind of been a lost cause. Even with Kansas City, we had high expectations, and it just didn't pan out. He ended up falling down the depth chart. And then same with Baltimore. Eventually, the emergence of Rashad Bateman and injuries pushed him down. But, I mean, dude, he's a heck of a player when he's healthy.
I find it fascinating that a lot of people in the sports community, even with the loss of Devontae Adams, have the Packers like a Super Bowl favorite in the NFC.
You don't agree with it?
I guess, I mean, the NFC's not that strong. And they have Aaron Rodgers, and their defense should be better with those two Georgia boys they drafted. They should have one of the best defenses in the league. So,
and then playing in the NFC North, who's really going to compete with them?
True. But I
Minnesota?
think Devontae Adams is a big loss.
Oh, absolutely.
That was Aaron Rodgers' left leg, dude. When in doubt, throw it up to Devontae Adams, man.
Yeah, but it's Aaron Rodgers, you know. You can't really. He's coming off MVP. I know. I mean, yeah, like you said, Adams is a big loss, but how much can we really count him out, you know?
Let's move on to the next one.
Sure.
Are the Buffalo Bills the team to beat in the AFC?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say so. Yeah, I would say that. I mean, the Chargers are another emerging team. The Bengals will be right up there with them. There's a lot of very highly competitive teams out in the AFC. I just think the Bills, man, they should be the team to beat. I mean, what they did last year in the regular season, what they did in the postseason. I know that the postseason loss was brutal, but they're right there with the best teams, you know. So I think they've improved with the draft and what they've added.
Miller.
Von Miller is huge. Their defense is, a top 3 unit, and their offense is a top 3 unit. Don't get no better than that, man. So just overall football team, AFC, they're the team to beat.
I'm not so sold on. I'm not putting the Bills as the favorite in the AFC.
You're not?
No, I don't trust like that.
I think that's fair, too.
I don't know. I have a weird feeling in me about the Buffalo Bills. I'm worried about the usage of Josh Allen in the run game. I'm worried about the run game in general. But maybe James Cook fix all that. I don't know. You know what I mean? I know their defense is solid. Heck of a defense. Good wide receiver core. Josh Allen's a great quarterback. Brian Daboll's gone. I don't know. I just have some questions, and I'm not just going to crown him just yet. So I'm just going to hold off. They're probably going to prove me wrong. I love Buffalo. I love the Bills Mafia. This is not a slight. This is just something that I've been working through.
Yeah, that's interesting because, I mean, at least on paper and, like, going into this season, like, I would think, for me personally, like, the Bills should be the team to beat. So I'm going to ask you, like, who would you, think that could, the Bengals, the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Colts? Like, which team would you say is their biggest, like, competitor?
I would say, the Chiefs. I really, really like the Colts. But I don't. The Chargers, I guess. The Broncos. The Ravens. I think people are sleeping on them. I know they have a new defensive coordinator and everything, but I think what he brings will be fine.
So you're not necessarily like crowning another team. You're just saying that so competitive.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that they're the team to beat. I think the AFC is just going to beat each other up.
Okay.
And then the strongest, we'll see who's the fittest to survive that gauntlet of, conference, really.
I guess we'll have to find out in the team previews.
Ooh, don't test me. I can't stand testis.
Yo, I smell like bologna.
That's that smell?
That's me, man.
All right, I got one for you. No one really talks about the Bears, but let's talk about the Bears.
Sure, I'd love to. Chop it up, man.
Let's chop it up, man. Do we expect anything from Justin Fields, or do the Bears have him set up for failure? Do we expect a big ascension or leap from Justin Fields despite the lack of weapons around him, and the Bears seem to put him in a tough spot? What do you think about all this? What are they doing there?
I don't expect a big leap. No, I don't think so.
A better season, an improvement.
I mean, it's not.
Or a lot of the same.
His rookie year wasn't very good.
It was very bad.
But he had some really good moments, some really good throws. His ability to get out and extend plays is next level, 100%. I love to just sit here and say, like, yeah, Justin Fields is going to come in here. He's going to show improvement. The Bears are going to be improved. But I don't know if I see that in his development right now. Just the way they didn't do much to surround him. Their offensive line has holes. The Bears as a whole. I mean, their defense is fine. It's not horrendous. But just like the offensive, the whole fling, there's no juice around it.
Yeah, the fling isn't juicy.
I mean, Matt Nagy's gone, which could only be be beneficial. But what they do to address it, they brought in a defensive-minded coach. I mean, I respect it, I understand it, but you gotta make it to where Justin Fields can only succeed. Surround him with offensive-minded coaches, get them in their head, surround him with weapons. Man, you go out here and draft Velus Jones, who's already 25. I mean, we'll have to see what he can do, but I just don't know if I can see that extreme leap unless Justin Fields can come out here and just, put the team on his back, which in the second year I don't expect that. So, no. He's going to have more attempts, more games played, so his numbers might be up, but I still see, 15 interceptions, a couple fumbles and stuff, a little bit of a struggle.
I'm starting to think that the Bears get their advice from a bear. Like okay. one growl, you draft him, 2 growls, no.
Yeah, I
can
see
like that. Like, I don't know, man, because it's looking pretty barren for the Bears.
Yeah.
On the offense, poor Justin Fields. I know he has the talent, but I don't think we can expect much from him. You know what I mean? Which is kind of a sad thing. You hate to see when these franchises draft these young quarterbacks that you look forward to, seeing their talent, and they can't. I mean, Trevor Lawrence was a perfect example. Urban was a terrible coach, but we can pray for him, man.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you for listening. I have another question for you. Are the Cincinnati Bengals still a premier team in the AFC East?
Yes.
Oh, suffering succotash.
Yeah, I mean, why? I mean, what they did last year, I mean, obviously they have a lot to prove again, just based off, can they do that again? To me, like, looking at what they did, like, why should we not believe that they're not an AFC contender? Like, what have they shown to show that they're not? I mean, just based off, like, they made the Super Bowl, and they haven't gotten worse. They have the same pieces. If anything, they might even get a little better, you know, with Chase in his second year, T. Higgins coming back, Burrow another year away from that knee injury. Their offensive line got better, Lowell Collins. Their defense is also improved. Dax Hill is no slouch. Jesse Bates is still there. And they've shown that they can just win games. So, yeah, I 100% believe that they are contenders again in the AFC East, just based off what they did last year, and they haven't shown anything to say that they're not.
We've seen this time and time again. The Super Bowl hangover, it's real. There's some teams that get to the Super Bowl the next year, we don't recognize them. However, not every team's built around Joey B. Joey Chill. You know what I'm saying? He's got that moxie. He's got that swagger. He's got that connection with Jamar Chase. He's got a talented young T. Higgins. He's got Joe Mixon. They improved their offensive line. The thing that worries me about the Bengals is the defense. Are we sure they improved their defense that much to keep up with, you know, all the other acquisitions that happened on defense in the AFC West? The Ravens improved their defense, I believe. You know, I don't know if they did enough in terms of free agency. I know they addressed a little bit in the draft, but was it enough to improve? Because their defense wasn't the reason they were in the Super Bowl, let's be honest. They were scrappy, they were serviceable, but they needed a little more. And I'm asking you, as not just a brother, but as your friend, is it enough?
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah, man, it's the same defense, except they brought in Dax Hill. I mean, Jesse Bates, Dax Hill, Von Bell, Chidobe Awuzie, Eli Apple, Mike Hilton. That's their secondary. It's still a good secondary. Linebacking core, Logan Wilson showed a lot last year that he's more than capable. And then the edge, I mean, Sam Hubbard and Trey Hendrickson, you know, the epic white horsemen, you know. They're both white, but they both did a good job, you know. And then B.J. Hill, DJ Reader on the interior. That's a solid defense, man. They stayed the same. They kept the core. And then adding Dax Hill is not going to hurt. It's only going to help. So
I think they needed more to improve the defensive line.
What would you have done?
Pass rusher.
Like who, though? What would you have in mind?
You know, bringing like maybe a Jadeveon Clowney.
Okay, that's still out there.
No, he signed with the Browns.
Oh, okay, never mind.
But he like an experience. Yeah, I know they have that Trey
Hendrickson.
Hendrickson. I don't know if he's gonna be a perennial guy. We can count on him every year.
He was darn good last year.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
Okay, I think that's fair.
But I feel like I've been a Debbie Downer in this talking about the Bills and the Bengals. You know what? I wish them the best. I'm nothing against them. Maybe I'm skeptical.
I think you wanted to say that they weren't going to be contenders, but I mean, it's hard to say that after what they've shown, you know. Because at the same time,
I'm not sold.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like a skeptic. Can you heal me?
No, man, because I see what you're stepping in. I think someone who, you know, there's people out there like, man, you're crazy for thinking the Bengals this and that, just the hype around them. But to me, I understand because there should be some regression. Like, as, you know, nature happens, you know. It's natural for them to come back a little bit. But, I mean, they've shown so much last year to where, like, even if they do regress, I still think they're contenders.
I also think that them making it to the Super Bowl, last year people probably played the Bengals thinking of them as little brother.
Okay.
I think they didn't take him serious.
Right.
And now them being, you know, the conference champions in the AFC, they're going to have a target on their back. They're going to get everyone's best game. It's not going to be, oh, we're playing the Bengals this week, we can kind of chill. We're going to get after Joey B. We got to
Yeah, but I think they kind of showed that a little bit last year where, like...
Well, in the playoffs, they proved...
Because, like, even, like, the Chiefs, like, years ago, like, they had so much firepower on offense that, like, you had to score 30-plus to even stay competitive. So, like, what if this is kind of like the new Chiefs is the Bengals, to where you have... Like, even if their defense gives up 28, 30 points, like, they're going to score 35 to 40 every single week, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point. We'll see.
We'll see, yeah.
That's why it's a question, man.
Good question.
As I turn the page, I see another question we can answer.
Slide it up.
Or attempt to...
What? You're a wizard, Harry.
Hey, party, you wet. Do you support Davis Mills as the Houston Texans franchise QB? Or is it a ploy for the Texans to look like, you know, they're just seeing what they got, they like what they see, but secretly they're tanking? You know what I mean? It's like a win-win. I really got extraterrestrial on this one, man. Don't hold it against me.
I mean, honestly, from a front office point of view, I'm not sure if they view him as like a franchise guy, but
I'm starting to think they do, dude. I hear a lot of Davis Mills chatter.
Yeah. I mean, like as a fan, as someone from the outside looking in, it's like, oh, it's awesome. They're giving Davis Mills a shot. He flashed last year. Maybe he is the franchise guy. But at the end of the day, like this team isn't built to win anytime soon. So like, if they're the top 3 worst team, they have a top 3 pick and they have an option to draft Bryce Young. If they have an option to draft C.J. Stroud, I don't think they're gonna pass that up. You know what I mean? No matter what they see at a Davis Mills. Like, cause to me, like even last year, my bold prediction for the Texans was that Davis Mills would emerge as their franchise guy. Which, I mean, it's definitely possible. He's gonna have his chance this year. But I think they're at the end of the day, it's kind of blow back on Davis Mills because he's not gonna let this team win 5 games. I think what are they gonna win? 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 at the max. I mean, this team isn't that good. So, like I said, if they're in line to get a top 3 pick with Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud, I mean, you're not gonna pass on those guys just because Davis Mills, had flashes? But
hypothetical, what if Davis Mills looks like a world beater? He's just on fire. He looks like a franchise quarterback. He looks like that guy. And they still don't win that many games. Do you still think they would take a quarterback? Or is there a world where he's just so dang good, like you can tell he's that guy, that they just don't?
I think he's gonna be good. Like,
do you think he's the? Do you think he'll be the franchise quarterback?
That's probably been the toughest question you've asked so far. All I can say to that answer is he's gonna have a chance to show it this year.
Do you support him? Are you
I like Davis Mills. Yeah, I mean,
You've always been.
I wouldn't make that prediction if I didn't believe in him.
Yeah, if you don't know, Luke's been ahead of the curve on Davis Mills. If you want to rewind to last year's preview, he pretty much goes into depth on Davis Mills.
He would have been the first quarterback taken in this last draft.
I haven't watched him enough, dude, but the stat lines he would put up were never that bad.
He was really good in the first half, but the second half he would stink. And it was kind of a weird thing. So maybe if we can see like first half Davis Mills like all the way through a full game, he's a franchise. He's a franchise quarterback for the Texans. So like we've already seen it. He can do it in the first half, but if he can do it for the whole game, he'll be the guy. And so if he can prove that this year, if he can throw, 4,000 yards, 20, 25 touchdowns, and maybe, minimize the interceptions, I still think he'll have trouble throwing interceptions. 12, 14 picks. But can he show that he can do what he did for a whole game rather than just one half? I think that's the biggest thing they're looking at.
It's interesting. I just want to, I guess that's the only really interesting thing we can talk about with the Texans.
I think I'm interested in just some of the names like Nico Collins, John Mechie, and Brevin Jordan.
Yeah.
I mean, those are 3 names that I'm kind of...
I like that. I kind of like their wide receiver core a lot, actually.
It's not bad. It's really not that bad right now.
I'm curious to see who becomes the man.
Brandon Cooks.
When he gets traded.
Nah.
You don't think he'll get? He signed an extension, right?
He ain't going nowhere.
Oh, you can get to know me.
Yep.
All right, let's move on. But we'll stay in the AFC South.
Sure.
You know what happens in the AFC South? It gets real guttural. Doug Peterson. Can Doug Peterson get the Jags back on track?
Oh, that's a very tough question because I don't know if it'll happen all in 1 year. Like, if you give me a time frame of like 3 to 5 years, yeah, I think he can. Doug Peterson's good. He's very hands-on with the quarterback, especially being a former quarterback himself, working with Carson Wentz, Nick Foles, all those guys. I think he's going to find a solution for Trevor Lawrence. So I think Urban Meyer's more of a hard head, kind of hands-off, just kind of an angry person.
He's a toxic person.
Just bad energy. Doug Peterson's not. He's smiling. He's happy-go-lucky, hardworking, very hands-on. He's going to teach you these little small things, especially as a quarterback, for Trevor Lawrence to – because Trevor Lawrence wasn't bad statistically. He had some really, good analytically driven stats.
He had some very eye-popping stats for how bad his stats look.
And I think ultimately the success on Jacksonville rides on Trevor Lawrence. If he can show that he's, Andrew Luck level prospect that we all viewed him to be, then Jacksonville is going to be turned around just like that. Because with the quarterback, you need those quarterbacks in today's NFL. He's got to be that guy. And I think Doug Peterson can be the solution. So I'm going to say, yeah, I think he will. I think he can.
Let me ask you a more straightforward question. Do the Jaguars make a drastic improvement from last year?
In terms of, win totals?
See, that could translate into wins, but just their play, it was almost it was actually very hard to watch Jacksonville play with receivers being in the same spot, Trevor Lawrence trying to make something out of nothing. Do you think that they're more organized and, you can kind of see where it could go? That's what I'm saying. Maybe you just see signs of that they're on the right track. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you happen to know how many wins they had last year? I mean, they're the first pick, so
3 or 2.
Three games maybe. I think you can see improvement in their play. Yeah, I can see that. They may win 6-7 games max maybe, but in terms of just seeing Trevor Lawrence kind of settle down, we'll finally get to see Travis Etienne. Very explosive, very good pass catcher. Very excited to see him play.
Me too.
And then just the weapons that they still have. I mean, I know people were dogging on the Christian Kirk signing, but I think he can be a darn good player for Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville. Marvin Jones is still there, one of the best red zone targets statistically. And then Laviska and then Evan Ingram. They tried to bring in some weapons to at least, help out Trevor Lawrence. And like I said, I think the improvement comes from the play of Trevor Lawrence. If we can see an improvement, we'll see an improved Jacksonville.
And that's why I think we will see a significant improvement from Jacksonville.
Okay.
I think they will be a surprise team. I think that Trevor Lawrence will be the best second-year quarterback next year. Statistically, I think he grows. I think Doug Peterson is a match made in heaven for Trevor. The offense is going to be something that, he can handle and nothing Suburban Meyer, picked out of a cookbook. You know what I mean? So I think in Etienne, adding the weapons, Ingram, Christian Kirk, I think this team sees a significant growth in this team, and we'll see their potential, and I look forward to it, man.
Yeah, and I even think the moves they made defensively. I mean, getting the number 1 overall pick, Trevon Walker, Foye Olukun, the Falcons linebacker, and then adding Devin Lloyd, Chad Muma. They're gonna be there, man. They're gonna be a really good run defense for sure. Secondary is still a little questionable. Shaquille Griffin, Darius Williams, Tyson Campbell. I mean, we'll see. I mean, they didn't get a lot of turnovers last year.
I like Tyson Campbell.
I think they were 31st in interceptions. So if their defense can, find a way to get some turnovers and the Trevor Lawrence steps up, yeah, they could be, a 7-win team this year, much improved.
Have you ever just, had a day where you had to go number 2?
Yes.
But you couldn't manage to find a spot to take a poop. You were on the road.
I'm not sure about that.
You had things to do, so you couldn't immediately go pop a squat. You
Sure.
had to hold it.
Sure, yeah.
And then the moment you hit the porcelain throne and relieved yourself into that toilet, what did you feel?
What did I feel?
What was the
Physically?
feeling? Yeah, like what was the feeling?
That's a good question. Because, I mean, physically, I mean, there's...
What did you feel?
Oh, relief. I felt really good inside.
You felt the weight from you.
Yeah.
Lifted from you. Well, maybe not lifted, but pushed out of you.
Right.
This is what the Jacksonville Jaguars are feeling right now. They've been holding in a gross, stinky poo-poo for a long time, and now they've been able to release it, and now they have a brighter future and an empty stomach.
Okay, man. We'll see what Jacksonville can put out then.
Thank you there, Bob.
Thanks, Dink. They have a center that's actually fitting for this. His name's Tyler Shatley. So that'll fit into your storyline.
Thank you, Shatler.
We'll see what he's about.
You said William Shatner?
No, I said Tyler Shatley.
Shatley. Good man.
Great guy.
He's going to be an all-pro. Let's see. Next question.
Sure.
Should the Chargers be the favorite in the AFC West? Or is it just a figment of our imagination and all on the paper it looks that way?
The Chargers should be the favorite in the AFC West. I mean, really, it's hard to find a flaw in this team. You know, where can we find it?
But this is all paper.
Yeah, but that's the only thing we can really base it off of at this point.
True.
I'm a big believer in Justin Herbert. I think he's only going to get better. He's full of talent. And then dude, they're much improved from last year. I mean, there's no doubt about it. This defense is strong. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Josh Palmer. They added Gerald Everett. I mean, we still have Eckler. They drafted Isaiah Spiller, who's not very good, but he'll be there. I just think, even their schedule shows that they should be winning the majority of their games. And yes, I do think they should be the favorite in the AFC West.
Here comes Mr. Inky Binky Biddly Boo. No, they should not be the favorite in the AFC West.
Okay, give me something to debate, man.
I trust the Chiefs more. Coaching-wise.
Nope.
Coaching-wise, Patrick Mahomes, they've been there, done that. I don't know. I trust them more. Although on paper, I will say the Chargers look very, very mighty and beautiful. I don't really like their coach. I think he thinks he's smarter than he really is, going for it on fourth down. I think that could really bite him in the butt. However, I will say that are a top 2 team in the AFC West.
So they're the Chiefs you'd have number 1?
Yeah, as of right now.
I think the Chiefs might have taken a step back, on paper at least. And the Chargers on paper taking a step up. I think they should be the favorite. They have the best edge rushing duo in all of football. Number 1.
Can they stay healthy?
Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack. They even have Kyle Van Noy, who's a pretty solid NFL player. They added Jerry Tillier. They added Sebastian Joseph Day on the interior. They need interior. That was their biggest weakness, was against the run. And they've done that. Drew Tranquill, Kenneth Murray, Troy Reader. And then their biggest, most dangerous part
JC?
Outside of their edge is their secondary. And edge and secondary are the strongest parts of a passing game on defense. Going against Mahomes and Russell Wilson. They have J.C. Jackson, Asante Samuel Jr. They just added Bryce Callahan, Michael Davis, Nazir Adderley, and Derwin James. That is their secondary unit. And I don't know if there's many units better than that. So to go along with that edge and that secondary with this Chargers offense, it would be hard for me to not see them win 11 games and win the AFC West, man. It's going to be a dogfight, but, they're probably not going to lose many of the matchups at home. They can beat the Chiefs at home. They can beat Denver.
Home is not home.
I know it's not, but just the psychological mindset of playing at home is different.
You make fine points, my lady. But let me go with something like this. No home field advantage. They have to prove to me that they won't make those dumb mistakes that the Chargers always make. You know, turnovers at impromptu situations, going for it on fourth down on your own 20. Like things like that, I need them to be smart. And once I can see, like I said, on paper, they look beautiful. They look like a white stallion floating in the sunset meadow of a porcupine forest. But at the end of the day, man, you play between the lines, man, the end zones and the goalposts. You got to put that ball where it needs to go.
Okay, so let's say the AFC, they split every single game in the AFC West. So they're 4-4.
Yes.
All the way down.
Yeesh.
Let's talk about the non-divisional games. And tell me if it's a win or a loss
All
off the
right.
top. So they play the Raiders, and then the
That's
Chiefs, and then so Jacksonville,
Well, they win that one.
Houston,
Win.
Cleveland,
Win.
Seattle,
Win.
Atlanta,
Win.
San Francisco,
Where?
away, at Candlestick,
I'll go with San Francisco.
Arizona,
Loss.
Miami,
Win.
Tennessee,
Win.
Colts,
Loss.
and then the Rams.
Loss.
So 11-7.
I didn't know their schedule was like that, man.
It's easy. They have the, it's the 16th ranked strength of schedule, but, if we think about it, every other AFC West opponent will also be playing those teams, right? Is that how it works?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a matter of who's going to win the more AFC West matchups, because that was just them splitting, So, if they beat the Raiders 2-0,
I don't know. I definitely can see them being number one. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I'll take the Chargers. You can take the Chiefs.
I'm not picking yet, man.
Oh.
This isn't my preview.
All right. Yeah, but
I'm asking a question.
I'll say the Chargers are the favorite. You did ask me that.
I got another one.
Sure.
Do we see Tua become Super Saiyan and become a top 15 quarterback in the NFL with the addition of Tyreek Hill and the new coach?
I think the addition of Tyreek Hill is a big deal. But I think Tua will ascend. I think Tua's a good quarterback. I think Tua gets a lot of hate now for no absolute reason. I just want to bring it back to one game last year. It was the primetime game that everyone was watching. It was the Baltimore Ravens against the Miami Dolphins. I don't remember if it was Thursday night or Monday night, pardon me. But everyone was watching that game. Jacoby Brissett started the game. They got down, blah, blah, blah. Tua comes in at halftime, and they pull it out. They win the game against Baltimore. Very, very good game. I think Tua has the tools to be good, and I do think with the additions and everything, they kind of unleash Tua a little bit more. I think he was 30th in deep pass attempts, but he was the most accurate on deep pass attempts. I think almost 70%. Don't get it twisted. People think he's not accurate down the field. That's a myth. Statistically, he was. He just didn't have that many attempts. So if they let him, air it out a little bit more, he can get those yards per attempt up. He can get those total passing yards up. And just with the addition of Tyreek Hill, I think the idea is to keep him close to the line of scrimmage, but once they start playing, shallow defense, boom, Tyreek Hill beats you deep, ball game. I think that's kind of the game plan I think I'm playing out in my head, because Mike McDaniels is very smart. They're going to use Tua to his strengths, and Tua is going to be a top 15 quarterback when it's all said and done. He's going to be good. He's going to show people that he is capable.
You're excused. That take just gave me an Indian rug burn.
Rub it on.
Because it was right on par, man. I agree with you 100%. I'm in on Tua. And I like how you brought up the Ravens game, man. I think he's got it in him. I think he's very talented. I think we saw it in Alabama, man. People, shortchange him. I think he's just had a rough start to his career, but I think we'll see the best of Tua this upcoming season. It's a spot on. Bravo.
Thank you.
For that, man. You're an incredible person, man. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for the kind words.
All right. Let's move on to a very fascinating team that come from Scandinavia.
Portland.
Aye, the Peruvian Barfbinst. Did the Vikings finally make the much-needed moves to improve that defense and possibly become a contender? They added the likes of Zadarius Smith, Jordan Hicks, Lewis Seen, Andrew Booth Jr., all levels of that defense added to the talent they already have. What do you think, dude?
Contenders, no. Even though I say this every year, Minnesota could be a surprise team. I think I've said it the last 3 years.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
But it's so weird. We have those expectations, but then when the season comes, it's injuries, or they're not playing up to par.
I think a lot of it was Zimmer.
Zimmer, I agree. See, this is where I'm trying to go. Before I get into it, rest in peace, Jeff Gladney. I know he was a member of Minnesota. He was on the Arizona Cardinals, but that tragedy was very sad, very unexpected. So rest in peace, Jeff Gladney.
Thoughts and prayers.
On paper, though, Zadarius Smith is huge. I mean, that's a guy who can bring pressure opposite of Danielle Hunter. I think that's a big get. And then boosting up their secondary, like I said, the edge and the secondary, those combinations are very good against, the NFL players. But I think a lot of it is riding on Kirk Cousins. And I know,
we know what Kirk Cousins is.
I know you were going to say that. I was getting ready to say that. But if we know what we're getting at a Kirk Cousins, no, I don't think this is a contender. If we can see Kirk Cousins elevate his play, I don't want to say like play out of his mind, but just, above the regular Kirk Cousins, a little more fire under his feet. He's taking the deep shots. He's sitting in the pocket. He's taking the hit because I know he hasn't been very good at that. If we see that, yeah, we could see, a 10-win, 11, one of those breakout teams with the additions on defense. But, no, they're not a contender. They're like an 8-9 win team in my eyes.
I'll give them 10 wins. I think, what do you think of Kirk Cousins? He's a top 12 quarterback?
He's probably 12, 13, yeah.
I think Kirk Cousins is playing fine. I always think the flaw is the defense that's been holding him back. They've never had a strong defense.
Yeah, when they had a strong defense.
Who win?
Xavier Rhodes defense.
Pardon my French, but what?
When they had him, you don't remember they were good defense.
When they lost to was it the Saints?
Yeah, with Case Keenum.
Oh gosh, dude, don't even get me started.
Yeah, but their defense was so good that they
Case
Keenum, yeah, they made it. They made
that's
it
not Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
You're not hearing me,
what I'm
bro.
saying is that's when they had a good defense. You said they never had one. They had one.
Yeah,
then.
but they didn't with Kirk Cousins.
Oh. No, not really. They really haven't. No.
Okay, this might be the year, dude. Don't sleep.
And also, like, the injuries to, like, Dalvin Cook have kind of, hasn't been that great. I mean, Madison's been good, but he's not Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook's special.
Well, Dalvin Cook is special. Madison's one of the best backup running backs in the league.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue that, but he's not. Just Dalvin Cook is so special because, like, even the games that Madison fills in for him, he does really good, but, like,
Dalvin could probably do a lot
if
better.
Dalvin was in that game, he could bust an 80-yard run.
Madison's had like 120 yards and a touchdown, but imagine Dalvin adding a receiving touchdown or maybe 140 yards.
Yeah, exactly.
2 touchdowns.
He busts an 80-yard run or something.
And yeah, Madison has fumbling issues as well.
But yeah, I mean, Justin Jefferson's gonna become the best receiver. Yeah, I mean, they're good. They're not a contender.
We'll get back to that. All right, let's go to another one. Will Daniel Jones make the move from "I'll have your daughter home at 10, sir," to "I'm her biological dad," actually, this year?
That's tough, man, because much improved offensive line. Saquon will be healthy. We expect a little more from Galladay and Tony and co. But no, I still think I'll have your daughter home at 10:30, 10:29 to make sure I don't get the belt.
Yeah.
That's going to be Daniel Jones.
I think Brian Dable has nothing to lose and no strings attached to Daniel Jones. I think he gives him every opportunity. So we have to see if Daniel Jones is good or not. Like, this is the year. There's no ends. After this year, I will get off. I have Scout's honor right now. If Daniel Jones stinks the bed, I'm off the bandwagon, dude. I'm going to have to move on to someone else, dude.
No, you got to stick to him forever.
No, I don't.
That was a guy you've always believed in, man. You always wrote him.
What we're going to see this year, and he's probably going to put up 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns.
It seems like you're already losing a little bit of confidence in him.
Because I think they're going to use him in a Josh Allen way, like reckless, run with him and stuff. I think that's a possibility because he's an athletic big guy.
He's going to run.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
They're going to play to his strengths. I really do believe that. Like, even if it kind of I think he's going to be more efficient, probably less turnovers, but the numbers are going to come down.
I think Brian Dable is like night and day to Joe. Joe Judge sleeps in a pantry.
Yeah, I agree. Brian Dable is that guy. He's their head coach. He's going to be a good one.
He's a whisperer, dude. And Daniel Jones.
But to me, like, Daniel Jones isn't very good. Like, at most, he's a backup.
Dable whispers, Daniel Jones hears.
Yeah, but Daniel Jones hearing and Daniel Jones crawling on all fours are two different things.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is the most make or break year I've seen in a while for a QB.
Yeah, dude, they declined his 5th year. If he's gone, he's a free agent.
Yeah,
like that's it. They let him walk.
Yeah, so they're literally gonna run him into the ground.
But I mean, is this a team like you expect to win like more than 6 games?
Their defense still stinks.
Does it?
Yeah.
Can I list you some of the names on defense?
Yeah, who'd they draft? Thibodeau?
Yeah, the best player in the draft. They have Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence, Azeez Ojulari, Quincy Roche, Blake Martinez, Tay Crowder, Adoree Jackson, Darnell Hayes, Aaron Robinson, Xavier McKinney, Julian Love. It's pretty much their starting defense right there.
What's their defensive tackle's name?
Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams.
Leonard Williams. That defense didn't do anything to me. But that's supposed to make a point.
I think Thibodeau is going to be real good.
I think.
Evan Neal too, man.
Yeah, Evan Neal. I think the offensive line is going to be much improved. I think Saquon is going to get back to seeing some holes finally. Daniel Jones is going to have some time. It should be interesting. I don't know. I mean, 6 wins.
Over or under 6?
I'm going to go over.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Who do they play? Who's their
You want to go down it?
Yeah.
All right, first game away, Tennessee.
Loss.
Carolina at home.
Win.
Dallas at home.
Loss.
Chicago at home.
Win.
Green Bay away.
Loss.
Baltimore at home.
Loss.
Jacksonville away.
Win.
Seattle away.
Win.
Houston at home.
Win.
Detroit at home.
Win.
Dallas away.
Loss.
Washington at home.
Win.
Philly at home.
Win.
Washington away.
Loss.
Minnesota away.
Loss.
Indianapolis at home.
Loss.
Philly away.
Loss.
So if I'm not mistaken, you have them going 8-9.
Yeah. They'll probably win. Philly's probably going to sweep the series. I just had to say one because you're an Eagles fan.
So 8-9, 7-10.
Yeah.
So that would be over. Okay, that's interesting. I could see it.
You don't have that, do you? You have under.
Yeah, I think maybe 6 would be mine. I mean, you had them beating one of those teams that I think can beat them. Tennessee.
I had them losing.
You had them losing?
Yeah.
You had Dallas sweeping?
Yeah.
You had Green Bay, Baltimore. Did you have Jacksonville?
I had them winning that game.
Yeah, I think like Jacksonville, maybe Detroit could win a game. Washington. I don't know. Who knows? We'll get to it in the team preview, but thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome, man. I'm here for it.
You got another question?
Yeah, let's see here. Let's just get Do you think Philly's offense will be elite?
No.
Why?
What do you like, a top 5 offense, or how are we establishing this?
Maybe not top 5, like top 10.
Top 10 offense? Yeah, I believe that. I don't know, man. The Eagles are weird, man, because there'll be some games where the score's like, 17-14. Like, they're not like a super high-powered offense. And, yeah, maybe that's because of Jalen Hurts. Maybe it's the slow pace. Maybe it's because they run the ball more than any other team, I just, how much are they really going to air it out? Like, are they going to stay true to running the ball with Sanders in that group? Or do we see them, with the addition of A.J. Brown, kind of unleash the passing game? I think if that's the answer, then yes, they will be top 10, potentially top 5. But until I see that, it's hard for me to say that they'll be elite.
Luke's spitting right now. I have, if Nick Sirianni, takes the training wheels off Jalen Hurts in the offense and lets them actually, use everyone to their capability and not like puppy Jalen Hurts. But if he does that, will Jalen Hurts answer that call? Is he ready to take the training wheels off? Is he Philadelphia Eagles starting quarterback for the future of now? Is he the one that can take him to the promised land? That remains to be seen for me. I root for Jalen Hurts, but I need to see it, man. Can you hate me for that, dude?
Nope.
Yeah, because I got really big rings.
I think he's definitely capable, though. We can't sit here and act like it's not, like he is what he is. Like, we could, if he comes out here and they give him, over 500 pass attempts, which is probably unlikely. That seems like a lot, but and he's able to throw for 3,800 yards, 25 touchdowns. That's a guy you can probably there's improvement there. There's growth there.
I think that the trade for A.J. Brown is a sign that they're taking the training wheels off and they're really going to see really what happens and what they have in Jalen Hurts. And I have high hopes for Jalen Hurts. Am I convinced? No. But you caught me with my pants down. I'm in a situation where I like the guy. I support him, Channel View. I just don't know from what I've seen if I can just book it and tell him, you got a franchise quarterback, Luke. I wish I could shake your hand and say that. I can't, dude. All right? And I want to, but I just can't at the moment, man. And I'm getting emotional just talking about it, dude. I can't handle much more of this.
Yeah, the addition of A.J. Brown definitely shows that they want to pass more 100%.
They have to.
They will, yeah, they will. It's just, they were so effective in the running game last year, though, that, it's going to be, hopefully it's just a well-balanced, because last year was like, they're going to run the ball, 30, 40 times a game.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's more of like, we see a little more passing. Jalen Hurts is able to open it up. A.J. Brown makes everything way easier for not only Jalen Hurts, but Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, just the whole offense as a whole. I think it's going to be a much improved, I don't want to say a well-oiled machine just yet, but if they can just keep it simple, make the throws easy, some downfield attacks for Jalen Hurts, that's an elite offense.
This is a make or break for Jalen Hurts.
Yes.
He's in the same boat as Daniel Jones.
Yeah, he is, but what Jalen Hurts has showed me so far is that he is a leader. He's a leader. He's very hardworking. He's a great teammate from everything that we've heard. And he's got the rapport already with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, too, in Alabama. To me, it seems like he can come into this year knowing he's the starter in the offseason, having the support around his teammates. He can just come in, be comfortable, be himself. And I think he's going to be the franchise quarterback moving forward.
I heard that him and A.J. Brown sit in their own table at the cafeteria and giggle to themselves.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Some leader. I'm just kidding. But I think
he's a great leader.
Having that vote of confidence from A.J. Brown is going to be huge for them being friends and A.J. sticking with him already like best friends. I think that's beautiful. And I think even if he does struggle coming out of the gate, I think he won't lose the locker room at all. So I think, we'll see him through the whole season. We'll see what he got to play. But when he comes to Denver, he better watch it.
He's a potential dark horse candidate to win MVP, man.
What are the odds?
Not very high, but
I'd take him. I'd throw a $5 bill at it.
Because, if the Eagles can, they're very improved on paper, but if they can, apply what they've done in the offseason on the football field, this is the best team in the NFC East. It's probably an 11, 12-win team. And if Hurts, is put close to 4,000 passing yards, 25 touchdowns, 800 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns. Similar,
like a Lamar Jackson.
Similar to Lamar's, but a little better passing numbers, and he has the wins to back it up. That's a dark horse MVP, man.
I'm picking up what you're putting down, sir.
Jalen Hurts' season is alive.
Get a jersey. Maybe I'll believe you're a fan.
Yeah, I'll ship you one. It's going to have number 2.
Give me the Channel View Jalen Hurts shirt and I'll wear it.
Nah, I'm going to give you Philadelphia Hall of Fame jersey.
Get me a shirt where the bird's eyes are X's.
Sure.
But I'm still an Eagles fan.
No, you're not.
Wear the
No,
logo.
he's not.
He won't let me wear the logo to the Texans game.
No, he's never allowed to put on that.
So I'm gonna get a white tee and write Bird Gang on it.
He slandered Jalen Hurts. He slanders the Eagles all the time.
When did I slander Jalen
Off
Hurts?
the record, dude.
Prove it.
Off the record.
Prove it. Take a poop in front of me.
No.
All right, let's move on. The NFC East preview is going to be pretty interesting, especially when we get into the Eagles, because I'm going to let some things out, and things are going to be thrown across the table, punches are going to be thrown, tears are going to be shed, blood is going to be boiling, so get ready for that one. Just a sneak previews. Next question, expectations for Trey Lance a lot.
What do I expect from him?
Yeah, can you give me a ballpark for his numbers, or is that just asking way too much?
Nah.
If he starts all 17 games.
Every game?
Yeah. Full-time starter.
That's I can give, 3,400 passing yards?
Mm-hmm.
33 maybe. 20, maybe 20, 22 passing touchdowns?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of sounds...
Intrigued, yeah.
A lot. He can do that, though.
I'd say 18.
Yeah, maybe 20. I'd say 20. And then
that's a lot, actually.
The interceptions, to me, is an interesting one because, last year in a few games, he
turned the ball over.
He was turning it over a little bit. So, I could see him putting up, if he plays every game, 15, he's up there with, Fields in terms of, the most interceptions, maybe. So, maybe in that range, 450 attempts, kind of in Tannehill, Jalen Hurts range. And, of course, he's going to do what he does on the ground.
I want to hear this. This is what I'm interested in.
But, 500 to 600 yards rushing. Maybe 4 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns. I'm not sure if he's going to do... he's going to run a lot on the goal line, but is he an 8 to 9 touchdown type of guy? Like a Josh Allen?
I think so.
Really?
Especially with Shanahan. I don't know.
Yeah. 500, 600.
Especially if he's not polished passer... and they're not going to trust him at the goal line, maybe. Maybe they just run it with Elijah. I don't know, but... I
guess a lot of these stats also depend on Debo's situation.
Yeah, I think a lot. But that's not a bad stat line. So you think he's going to be pretty good right off the rip?
Yeah.
More touchdowns than picks?
More touchdowns than picks. I think he's a good player, dude. Even last year... He has a big arm. Yeah.
I've heard good things, but you can't believe anything you hear coming out of their camp because they're going to say he's the next Joe Montana.
I don't think his completion percentage isn't going to be super high. He's probably going to have a lot of picks, but in terms of yards and total touchdowns, those will be up, because the Niners know what they're doing on offense,
I like Trey Lance.
Yeah, get him in fantasy.
I got another one. Can Tom Brady stay forever young?
Forever? No such thing.
May you stay forever young.
I mean, eventually everyone meets Father Time, and Father Time stretches his hands out and slaps you, you know?
It's true, man.
There's no other way around it. It seems like he was already ready to hang him up, but he's got one more thing to prove, and it's probably his last season. So in
What
terms,
does he have to prove?
but in terms of like Father Time, with this being his last season, like, no, I mean he's gonna come out banging. He's gonna come out with everything he has.
Is he going to be a top 10 quarterback?
Yeah, absolutely. It's Tom Brady. We're not gonna do this thing where it's
So he's going to stay forever
he's
young.
declining.
So he's never going to decline.
Yeah,
for as long
dude.
as we
Tom
say.
Brady's not coming back unless he can come out on top. Like he's coming back thinking they're gonna win the Super Bowl. He's not coming back to prove anything. He's just hungry for another ring. He knows he still has the arm and everything. Of course, yeah. Tom Brady's gonna come back, throw for. I mean, dude, last year was crazy. He should have been the real MVP. Was Tom Brady, if you want to be honest. He had the most passing yards, most touchdowns, most completions. I mean, dude, it's only been 1 year. One left year. Like, dude, he's going to throw 4,500 yards, maybe close to 5,000, 35, 38 touchdowns. Like, of course, dude. Of course he's going to be a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to...
Yeah, don't overthink it.
I've tried to figure out this fountain of youth he's been sipping on. I'm not going to bet against him. I'm going to say he's a top 10 quarterback again, and the Bucs
No
are
doubt.
one of the best in the NFC. I mean, it's
I mean, if you want to...
It's one of the few people that I mean, this is the only person that's ever done this and proved, like, you can play until you're... How old is he, 48?
Yeah, 98.
He's 48 or 40, 46?
46, maybe.
God dang.
It's crazy.
That's crazy, dude. 46-year-old person putting up
He's
5,000 yards, 30
should have been the
touchdowns.
MVP at age 45.
We need... Yeah, I can't wait for his documentary to come out where he, like, goes to some place in Antarctica and sticks his head in the water and he comes out and he's, like, young.
Yeah. He's doing something. He's sipping some type of juice. And
Okay.
it might rhyme with Lindo Loam.
Lemonade.
Lemonade, man. You know what I'm talking about. But the thing I like most about Tampa Bay, though, is them kind of like keeping everything together. I know Godwin's hurt, but I love the Russell Gage edition. I know they lost O.J.
Yeah,
Howard and probably Gronk. I don't know if he'll be back, but they still have Cameron Brate. They drafted 2 tight ends. Leonard Fournette. All these guys are still here. And the defense, too. So they're... I mean, dude, we might be sleeping on them. Like, people thinking, Tom Brady this? No, they're going to come back and they're going to be right there at the top of the NFC, guaranteed.
Yeah, and I was going to put one of the hot topics is Gronk coming back, but that's played out. Who cares?
Yeah, I agree with that, too.
I mean, ESPN spends like 7 days in a row. They're like, what can you say until the guy makes a decision? You know what I mean? That's why, mainstream.
Definitely
man.
played out.
Stick with us, man.
But he's a good player if he plays.
Yeah, he'll be good.
Yeah.
But
It's
I'm
the
not,
same
I'm not
stuff.
going to waste my breath on it no more.
Right, I agree with that.
All right, this is my last question.
Okay.
Has Carson Wentz finally found a forever home?
Interesting. Like he plays well and he plays his career out there.
Yeah, like he looks like the Philly, but the fans embrace him, and he's actually a good leader. Like, he changed his ways, and he's like a beautiful human now.
To be fair to Carson Wentz, I think last year he was good. I mean, outside of the whole leadership thing in the Colts locker room and the last game against Jacksonville, I think as a whole his numbers for the Colts were good. Like, they were a good team last year. Like, people are kind of,
He had good stats.
pushing that to the side. Like, he was solid last year. And I expect him to be that guy that he was last year. In terms of, like, maybe only throwing, 10 picks, 8 to 10 picks, not turning the ball over. But can he get to the Eagles, Carson Wentz? That's a great question. I'm not sure. I don't think so. But he comes to this team that has, really good weapons. McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel, Diami Brown, Logan Thomas, which is probably a better, receiving core than the Colts. Antonio Gibson can do what Jonathan Taylor did. Obviously, he's not that type of player. But in terms of
carrying the load,
taking the pressure off of Wentz. I think yes. I think Wentz will be there until they find his, the next guy, whether it be Sam Howell, whether they draft a guy. But I think he'll work his way through the year. He'll work his way until they find the next one.
Do you think the Commanders have any chance of maybe winning the division, or do you have any hopes like that for them?
I won't say no. I think they have a chance to win the division, but to predict it would be kind of crazy with Dallas and Philly being.
But it's weird because
they're good.
I'd be surprised, but at the same time, there's always that one team that literally surprises the poop out of you, and you don't really see it coming.
Yeah, they're definitely a team that you can't just sneeze at.
Yeah, that defensive line.
Because even last year they were scrappy. Like they would make close games. They were on
pace to at one point win 10 games or something.
Yeah, and that was with Tyler Heineke, and they get Wentz, who's much
scrappy.
better.
Ron Rivera, man,
very scrappy team. Don't sleep on. This is a team that could secretly go 10-8.
Yeah,
and slip into the wild card. So I like them as a sneaky team this year for sure. Don't sleep on them. I guess I can ask you a few questions,
please.
When will the Browns move Baker Mayfield? What's the Baker scenario going like?
All right. So they've had a falling out, the Browns and Baker. And all that I know right now is that Baker's never going to play for the Browns. Even if Deshaun gets suspended for a year, they brought in Jacoby Brissett. Baker will not. And it's starting to get to the point where he's going to they don't know what to do with him going into mandatory camp. Do they fine him? They kind of ruin that relationship, so they can't blame him for not coming,
Right.
Kind of dragged him through the mud. So it's this is a crazy situation. At this point, they might not get what they want for Baker in a trade, but I think they just have to trade to the best deal that's out there, whether that be, who's looking at him now? Panthers? I haven't heard any rustling about Baker Mayfield. Maybe the Seahawks? I don't know. There might be a surprise team out there, but it's just a very strange situation to be in. You've kind of burned that bridge with Baker as the Browns, and you could have used him if you just acted like a respectable franchise, and instead you berate him and treat him like poop. This is kind of what the Browns get for bringing in Deshaun Watson, that sick freak.
I don't think I've ever experienced anything like this with the Baker thing.
Yeah, it's nuts.
The fact that they told him he'd be the starter, and then they go and trade for Deshaun Watson without telling him anything, and already promising to him that he would be the guy, and then trading for Deshaun Watson before you trade Baker, knowing that you already have. You're probably not on the right page. Why would you trade for Watson and not have something lined up with Baker, and then hold on to Baker now when
he literally hates the Browns?
When now he's never going to show up, he's never going to play for you again, and then now you're stuck in this corner to where, Deshaun Watson has all these legal things. He's probably going to get suspended for the whole year, maybe 2 years, and we would love in a perfect world to have Baker be the quarterback during these times because he's much better than Brissett. And they can't find a trade partner for him. But, Baker's not going to play for you ever again. And no team seemed to want to give up,
what they want.
Second round, first round, and pay the $17 million he's owed.
I think that's the biggest part.
And then at the same time, you don't want to just release him and pay him all this money, and then he goes to the Pittsburgh, and now he's playing against you one-on-one, and you're starting Jacoby Brissett. So, just this whole scenario is literally
the Browns shot
stupid.
themselves in the foot.
100%.
And they deserve whatever comes, man.
Baker was fine. People see he's not even that bad. He's bad.
Still young too.
He's not Daniel Jones. He's pretty good. Dude, they were in the playoffs not even 2 years ago.
They won a playoff game.
I don't know. It's all good. You traded for Deshaun. Yeah, and you get what you deserve because he literally smells.
Deshaun Cosby.
Right. I want to talk about a little something else, man. Ravens and Cardinals contract situations with Kyler and Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
These are some burning questions. Are these holdout situations? Do they get paid? Could they look for new teams? I mean, what do we think?
I think that Kyler's situation seems to be smoothed over. They must have promised him something, or they're in the works. He's seen pen on paper, maybe some hard ink, like what he's looking at. So I think that one should be fine, and he's going to get that big deal. Lamar is the worrisome one. I don't know the Ravens brass if they're worried about handing out a large amount of money to Lamar, a once in a generation athlete that hasn't really proved he's a elite quarterback. Yes, he's an elite athlete. Maybe they want to pay him the athlete price tag instead of the quarterback, which is, oh man, you could buy something with that. You could buy a few school buses. You could buy the whole school.
Do you think that's what they're trying to do, you think?
That's the thing. I don't know what the brass is like, what the higher-ups in Baltimore is like. I don't know if they're like old. I don't know what they're thinking.
But do you think that it's possible that they don't want to pay him this money because they don't believe in him like long term? Like maybe it could be
I think so. I think Lamar hasn't really. He's proved a lot, but he hasn't proved enough maybe to them.
Like in the playoffs, he kind of falls off.
Yeah, we've seen it against Tennessee when they were. Yeah, that's when 2
years in a row, I think.
That was MVP Lamar. He won MVP, but nothing to show for it in the playoffs. We all know he struggled last year too. A lot of picks,
injuries,
like things like that. That's worrisome for people to hand out a large sum of money to. But personally, I'm paying them.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you're in the front office, what are you doing?
I'm paying both of them.
Whatever they want.
Not the highest paid. Maybe that's what they want. I don't know if that's why, but
like $40 million a year, $45 million a year, like.
Yeah. Pushing 40, maybe 40.
Okay.
That's a lot of dang money and stuff. Like, it's hard. I can understand like what they're thinking, but to me, it's like he's young. He's a hard worker. He's a good person. Like, I would pay Lamar before I paid Kyler.
Yeah, I'm paying both. We don't see what goes on behind the scenes, but
wait, who would you pay first?
Lamar.
Okay. Because whenever I said that, you kind of.
But it's not. It's close. Like it's
definitely close.
I don't know, because I trust Kyler maybe longer term, just because of his arm ability and like his passing ability, maybe. But his stature too, long term, is worrisome.
Yeah.
But Lamar too. He's not the biggest guy either. He's very slender for his 6'4" frame, and he's not as good of a thrower, but he's probably the better runner. And health.
This is probably what the front offices are thinking of,
Yeah, that's true.
But I think both deals will get done.
Dude, pay him, dude. It's Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, man. You never see nothing like him.
There's no swagger more than Lamar, dude.
He runs for 1,000 yards, dude. What more do you want? Him to throw for 4,000?
I guess more than what they want is to pay him as a running back.
Yeah, an athlete. Because, with the runner, you got to factor in the injuries. With Kyler, you got to factor in his big old ego.
Right.
You think his poop don't stink, dude.
They're both good, man. They're both NFL guys.
Yeah, sure.
Next question. Which rookie will have the biggest immediate impact in the NFL? It could be offense, could be defense. You could pick one. You could pick two.
Oh, man, that's tough. Do you have a couple in mind for you?
Immediate impact, Kayvon Thibodeau, Aiden Hutchinson. The top guys.
I was going to say Aiden Hutchinson because I think his impact on the Lions would be you'll feel it.
Okay.
Because they haven't had a pass rush in a very long time. And if he's anything like, what they compare him to, J.J. Watt, things like Ryan Kerrigan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that'll be huge for Detroit. Like, you'll see that one. And I think it'll be headlining news.
Devin Lloyd was another one I thought of.
Devin Lloyd?
The linebacker for Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Could just come in and be like a force,
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because he'll be replacing Miles Jack, you know.
I think I want to go like out on a limb and be like Sauce Gardner, you know.
Yeah.
What if he just turns him? He's already, because I saw his highlights and I think he can be special.
I think
there's so many.
What about offensively?
Offensively,
Yeah, who do you think will just come in and like set the world on fire? Immediate impact right from the get-go.
I think if they give it to him, Breece Hall.
Okay.
I think also Treylon Burke.
All right. You think from the get-go they'll just be...
I think Treylon Burke is... They're going to fire him up. Number one. No questions asked.
Speaking of Treylon Burks, did the Titans make up for the loss of A.J. Brown?
With Robert Woods, like collectively or just with drafting Treylon Burke?
Well, with Burks, Woods, they drafted Kyle Phillips. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it in terms of Austin Hooper, maybe you could mention.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think A.J. Brown's a stud. And I mean, it's just hard for me to fathom that. I mean, Robert Woods is a good player, and it gives Tannehill like a different type of wide receiver.
Yeah, very
and
unique.
Treylon is, I guess, similar to A.J. Brown, but I just don't think he is.
No. See,
Maybe not similar, but comparable in size and stature.
Yeah, when I say like make up for the loss of A.J. Brown, it's kind of tough because drafting and finding players like A.J. Brown don't come every draft. It's like a 1 every 5, maybe 10 years. He's, him and DK are freaks. Like those aren't guys you just find. Like those are.
And I've been hearing some not so positive things about Treylon Burke.
Was that when he left practice?
Was he mad?
No, he was dealing with like sickness or asthma. Maybe he had to leave practice. Or I think it was the first practice of the year.
I just heard about his like speed.
Oh, really? I didn't hear that.
Route running.
It's not very good.
Yeah, it's not polished, but I mean, I guess it might be nitpicking, but those are concerns, you know.
Yeah, that is a little bit concerning, but
he doesn't have like the blow by his.
But I mean, adding Robert Woods, I think, is really good. He's unique.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I like it, but I don't know if it will make up for the void of A.J. Brown.
Okay, here's another one. What do we expect from the QB-needy teams this offseason who went out and addressed it and got some quarterback upgrades? For example, the Denver Broncos, Russell Wilson, the Colts trading for Matt Ryan, the Commanders getting Wentz.
What was the question?
What do you expect from these teams that... I mean, I would say their biggest weakness would be their quarterback play. With the Broncos, it's always been, we need a quarterback.
100%.
Everything else has been really good, but now they finally get, a really good star quarterback. Like, what do we expect from these teams? Like, are these teams that go from, kind of down at the bottom, top 10 draft picks to, like, now these are, like, contenders because they were only missing quarterbacks? Like, what? Because, like, we haven't seen these teams really been in that contending area, but since their team is so well constructed, now they add their missing link. What do we expect from these teams?
Well, I think for the Colts and the Broncos, I think it immediately makes them a playoff team, contender, because they were built so solidly from defense, both sides of the ball. They got Stephon Gilmore. Matt Ryan's an upgrade from Carson Wentz. I think he fits the Colts a lot better than Carson Wentz. And him being there, done that, like, offensive line, like, it's just beautiful. Jonathan Taylor, he's never really had I mean, I guess he has, but maybe not to this extent in terms of defense. As for the Broncos have been doing the same thing. They've been sitting in the shadows building, solid offensive line. They have weapons on the outside. They have a studly little running back, 2 good running backs. Their defense, their secondary is good. Defensive line is good. Linebackers seem to be good. Like, they're solid. There's not like a gaping hole. The gaping hole was the quarterback, and that being filled, it immediately vaults them into the top, the upper echelon of the NFL. They're not bottom dwellers. They're not going to stink to watch on TV. I'm not going to hate whenever I know they're on because it's going to be stressful and watching paint dry with, in previous years since 2016 or whatever. And the Colts have been going through the same thing ever since they lost Luck. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
As for the Commanders, I guess for the fans, excitement. Maybe it's excitement, but I don't know if they're definitely not vaulted into the upper echelon. I think they're kind of still in the same realm they were. I don't see that moving the needle that much, but those two moves, Colts and Broncos, is huge. Franchise altering for the better moves.
Yeah, I just want to say this for the Colts, how exciting it has to be for Matt Ryan and Michael Pittman, to where Matt Ryan goes from having a similar receiver and Michael Pittman with Julio Jones in Atlanta. And so him to he's already played with this type of guy before with the size and the speed. And then for Michael Pittman getting a guy who's previously played with the Julio Jones, so he knows where to put the ball on a big body, all these different things. So I'm not going to say Michael Pittman is Julio Jones, but just the stature, the number one receiver, and that both of these guys will have experience with already playing with, those type of guys, with Matt Ryan being able to already kind of have that instinct playing with Julio Jones in the same build and Michael Pittman. And I think people are kind of overlooking that. I think it's going to be a match made in heaven for those two, because I think special things are going to happen to Michael Pittman this year if he can stay healthy. I think that'll be I think it's a match made in heaven for the both of them.
I think Alec Pierce is a good guy to have for Matt Ryan.
Yeah, we'll see what he can do, man. He's an athletic freak.
He's going to be a starting wide receiver game one of the NFL 2022 season.
Yeah, I think so. There's not many competition. Paris Campbell.
And he's going to be really good.
Paris Campbel will be in the slot. If they don't bring anyone in, he'll be.
I think he's going to be real good.
Really?
Fantasy.
In fantasy? Real good in terms of stardom every week?
I think he's going to be the security blanket.
I don't think so.
Is he not that kind of guy?
No, he's similar to Michael Pittman, I think. He's super athletic, though, so maybe he could be. And he's more of a...
I think he's being slept on, dude.
Yeah, I'm not...
I read something today that made my eyes water.
Yeah, he's a darn good target.
He's a rootin' tootin' calibrootin' dootin'.
Yeah, I'm a little intrigued. I'm also intrigued in Paris Campbell, though.
Not so much for me.
If he's healthy, he's very, very good. He was better than Terry McLaurin at Ohio State. You got drafted before him. You guys don't sleep if he's healthy.
Does Mo Alley Cox have blonde hair?
No.
Oh, it must have been a TMZ report then.
Wow, he's got blonde?
I don't know. I haven't seen him.
Interesting.
Where's Jelani Woods?
He's playing out there somewhere.
With Indianapolis?
Right.
Super Bowl.
I don't know, man. We'll see. Got two more questions to round it out for you guys. Are the Cowboys still the favorite in the NFC East? Have they done enough to become true contenders off of last year to finally...
What have they done?
I'm asking you.
Oh. I think they've gotten worse in a lot of ways. But for some reason, I think this is what the Cowboys needed. And I do think they're still the favorite in the NFC East. Sounds crazy. Sounds counterproductive. They lost a lot. Randy Gregory. They lost Amari Cooper. They lost a lot. Offensive line. You know what I mean? But for some reason, I feel like this is what they needed to shed the extra weight to get to the skeleton of the Cowboys. Get rid of the extra fat, a little more aerodynamic, if you will. And I think they still are the favorite in the NFC East. That's not a slight or a poke at the Eagles. That's just how I feel. I think Dak will be back to what we knew and loved when they were putting up 50-40. You know what I mean? He's throwing for 400 yards, 300 yards on a regular basis. Zeke got it. Tony Pollard, CeeDee Lamb, Dalton Schultz. I like they have a young up and coming defense. So I like what they got going in Dallas. I think it was good. A lot of people probably think I'm crazy, but that's just how I feel.
No, I think that's a very reasonable answer.
Put your money where your mouth is.
I'm not sure if I agree yet. I mean, I think it's the smart play to say they're still the favorite. And I think, like you said, I think Dak should be better than he was last year. I mean, are you still riding on Zeke? Is Zeke going to still be that guy they can rely on the ground game? I mean, I would say yeah, but I mean, what do you think? I mean, it's another year older, more mileage, injuries. I know he played hurt last year. So, like, is Zeke still going to be that guy for them, you think?
I don't know. I don't know if it's more of a committee, but I can't imagine it be a committee. It's just I need to know what Zeke's looking like in the off season. It seems like he's different. You know, maybe if he cut his hair and his beard and he's looking slimmer, more agile. He kind of looked lethargic in previous years. But I think he has that contract, so they're going to run him. So, you know, I'm not really worried about Zeke per se.
But
I am worried about Tony Pollard.
But you don't think we can get like the old Zeke back where we spry? He's getting.
I don't know if we'll ever get prime Zeke, but he can get close. I think. I'm worried about Tony Pollard, like just overtaking.
That's not gonna happen.
Come on, man. He's so explosive. I think he averaged like 6 yards a carry. It seemed like.
He's very explosive. I love Tony Pollard. He's a great player.
Guy drafts him in every fantasy draft.
Yeah, you have to. You have to get Tony Pollard 100 every single draft that you're in. But to me, I think Tony Pollard excels best when he plays that change of pace. Whenever he can come in and he can
tires out.
use his explosiveness in spurts. Because I don't know if he's the same guy if he's playing every down. Everyone knows what to expect.
We don't know.
But if Zeke's bruising the defense down, you throw Tony Pollard in there to catch passes, to maybe run 3 or 4 times. I think that explosiveness is so valuable in spurts.
Good point. Maybe it's meant that's like a true 1-2 duo, 1-2 punch.
Yeah, they've always kind of
Like
done that.
Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon.
Yeah, I mean, DeMarco Murray was that guy.
It's actually the opposite though.
DeMarco Murray was that guy, and then they had like Felix Jones, very explosive, super fast, very good. He had big games just like Tony Pollard. But he was never that true guy because he had that burst that they needed to, come in when the starter needed the rest.
That's a good point.
I view that. I think Jalen Tolbert's interesting because with Gallup out and Cooper gone,
I'm very intrigued.
He's going to be very reliable for them, I think, and replacing Cedric Wilson too. My biggest concern is their defense. I mean, they were a solid unit last year. They were, middle of the pack in most stats, but I mean, there's nothing that really jumps out outside of Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs. I mean, DeMarcus Lawrence will be there, but just looking at
they have some safety.
Malik Hooker,
no,
Jaron Kearse, Donovan Wilson, Trayvon Diggs, Anthony Brown, Jordan Lewis, Calvin Joseph.
They stink.
Yeah, it's not good. But, I mean, they got turnovers last year, which is the biggest thing. But I don't know if we can see that again. I don't know. Last question, man, to round it out. Which coach doesn't make it to the end of the season?
Dan Campbell.
No.
Too much Red Bull. He has a heart attack. No. I'm just kidding. That's a very poor joke.
Dude, you ripped my heart in half.
You should have seen Luke's face. His color left his face. He was shocked. He was crying. Dan Campbell's probably going to win Coach of the Year.
You just pulled everything out of me, man. We got to end it soon.
Yeah, I'll say Mike McCarthy, man.
Oh, really? You're just hyping him up, huh?
I know, but Sean Payton's lurking around there. Cowboys fans don't seem to be very fond of Mike McCarthy. I don't think Jerry Jones is. I don't know why.
What happened?
I don't know. I think he wants that big fish. He wants the big tuna, if you will. Bill Parcells he had previously. Jim Johnson. He's always had that big guy. Now he just literally has a big man as his head coach, like a large, hefty man as head coach instead of the big name. So I think Mike McCarthy's on a short leash, dude, because I don't know how much longer the Cowboys fans can deal with this run-of-the-mill, same old. We make fun. They're the butt of the joke. So, I mean, if Sean Payton becomes available, the moment he does, Mike McCarthy's job's gone, and Sean Payton's getting a space shuttle sent to wherever he is, and he's hitching a ride back with Jerry Jones.
You think they do that before the end of the season?
If Sean Payton doesn't like his job at wherever he is, what is it, CBS, NBC, Amazon, one of those, if he doesn't enjoy what he's doing, then he might just come back. And what better place? He started at the Cowboys, I think. Like, he was a big part of the Cowboys for a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's not surprising with McCarthy. You predicted him to win the NFC
East
to be the favorite. So if they win, he's probably not gone. But it was surprising to see McCarthy come back even after last year.
Yeah,
I think that was kind of a shock. And we all expected him to be fired, but they're bringing him back. And it's not that's surprising that you mentioned him. For me, I'm gonna say Cliff Kingsbury.
He's worn out his welcome too.
I just think if Arizona comes out to slow start, Hopkins is out, their defense kind of stinks. The only person you can really blame would be Cliff Kingsbury. I mean, he calls the plays. He's the offensive coordinator. He's the head coach. And to me, it seems like him and Kyler maybe don't see eye to eye. Kyler's going to get paid. He's going to be there for the long term. And if they don't get off to a hot start, I could see Cliff Kingsbury not making it through the season because Arizona is a team that probably expect to make a playoff run this year. And, I can easily see it just like kind of falling apart this year and them having to make a quick change. And Cliff Kingsbury's been there long enough and they haven't done anything. I don't think his leash is very long either.
Yeah, I could definitely see that one. And it's probably well-deserved if they can him.
You would like that one, huh?
Yeah, I think he needs to go back to college.
Oh, yeah?
Our coordinator.
Yeah, I could see that.
I mean, dude, he starts 6-0 and they poop the bed every year.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be any easier this year without DeAndre Hopkins and with the Kyler Murray poop in his head. You know what I mean?
All right. I have a kind of a long shot.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll for Seattle.
I don't know. He's old. But they seem to like Pete Carroll. Like, I think he's a big part of the Seattle brain trust.
Yeah, that's true. But I
think maybe they could fire or promote him.
Yeah.
Like, give him a higher job, like a football operations for Seattle.
I don't know. Pete Carroll just seems worn out to me a little bit.
Yeah, but I could see it.
He's old. As Matthew Kelly would say, he looks like a skeleton with a rubber face.
He looks pretty haggard.
Yeah.
But, I could see it, but I think he's got a special place in Seattle's heart, man. He's got a future there.
Maybe. We'll see. Yeah, that was a long shot.
How old is he, 78?
He's old, yeah.
He chews gum like a freak.
Yeah, he sure does, man. He's a gum monster.
Thank you guys for listening to another episode of Forget What You Heard. We hope you enjoy. We appreciate the support as always. You guys have a great week. We love you. Peace, love, and happiness.
Bolt.
I saw a dove.